short 3-point plan for what I'm looking at. You can go to my website, bjforchairman.com, and see more detail on my blueprint. There's 3 major points that I think we need to do with the party. One, how many of y'all did go out of town and talk about sharing our party in Georgia's successes with other states? How many of y'all went out of state during the last election? Wow, quite a few of y'all. One of the things that we were challenging in some of these states that people saw is that as we were on one side of our people were on one side of the road with a piece of paper looking at names or something or finding out who to go knock on doors next, there was somebody across the street with a tablet with red and blue dots on the tablet telling them which were Republican and Democrat houses. And took satellite, had GPS, all that cool stuff. We've got to close that gap. I'm not telling you I'm giving everybody in the party a laptop, so don't get excited. I'll give everybody a tablet. But we've got to close the gap on technology. And one of y'all do well up here in Cherokee with a website. There's a lot of counties around the state that are organized counties for the Republican Party, but they don't even have websites. So I'm a geek. I went to Georgia Tech. He told you I went to Georgia Tech. I admit it. I'm a geek. So I intend to make sure that every single county party in this state has a website. If you're a member of the Tea Party or American Prosperity, you can drill down through their national website and get down to the county level and to the local level. There's no reason we can't do that at the Georgia Republican Party, so we need to have websites. Secondly, as he mentioned, I'm on the technology committee right now. However, I don't feel like committees at the state party right now have been doing what parties should or what committees should do. Committees should bubble ideas up, not have things thrown at them and then say, what do you think? And then it doesn't matter what you think, it's getting done already because the website's already been put up. What do you think of the website? Hey, well, we think we should change this. Oh, no, you can't change it. Okay, we've got to have committees that bubble ideas up, not have stuff pushed down. So I intend to have a committee system that's set up on all issues and have one person, as we've done with credentials and rules and other committees at the state convention, have one person from each one of the congressional districts on it. So Valdosta's represented Savannah and Augusta and Columbus and all the places represented. So we'll have one person from every district on those committees, so 14 people on committees and a staff member that supports that committee. On that note, one of the committees I want to have is a grassroots support committee is the name of it. And that is a committee that helps the counties see what is it that the counties need, what is it that the districts need, what can the state do to help you. We can't tell you what we can do to help you. Somebody's got to tell us what it is you're looking for. So we'll have that bubble up through the county. And then how many of y'all have been on the state committee or state executive committee over the many years? How many of you feel like when you went to a state committee meeting that you felt like you got to give a lot of input and share your ideas and vote on things and challenge things on votes? Anybody? Now, a lot of people, and y'all don't have to go as far to get to Atlanta, but there's people in Valdosta and Savannah and Augusta and everywhere else that feel like a trip from Augusta to Atlanta isn't worth it if they don't get to vote or give some input. So we've got to make sure these things go input-wise, and we give people the opportunity to give input to the state party and the state committee meetings. All right, so the third thing is, and it's another committee, is I want a messaging committee. We've got to do better at getting the Republican conservative message out. We don't need to change a thing about the Republican Party platform. But we've got to figure out better ways to sell it to everybody. Lori asked me before this, how are you going to expand the party? People talk about growing the party. Well, how are we going to grow the party? Well, we're going to take the Republican message and make it more attractive. You all heard in my bio that I was a charter school person. Last year I traveled the state debating and talking about the charter school amendment. Whether you were for or against it, let me tell you what happened in November real quickly. In November, whether you were for or against it doesn't matter. But what happened is that last year during the legislature, a 2/3 majority in the House of Representatives and a 2/3 majority in the Senate and a Republican governor shoved this thing through and got it done so that it was put on the ballot. Then it went to the ballot. The black public in Georgia voted 2/3 yes on that. Okay? But if y'all will recall, the NAACP, Andy Young, Reverend Joseph Lowry, and everybody else told them to vote no because it was segregationist and it was anti-African American. So even though that happened, they voted yes. And what we've got to do as a party is take a message like that and say, we're the opportunity party, we give you the opportunity for an education, we're the ones that are giving this to you. They voted 78% yes, and we've got to push that and shout that from the mountaintops. And what we've got to do is take issues like that, and that's how we grow the party. And we become the Grand Opportunity Party instead of the Grand Old Party. The Grand Old Party's gone. Let's be the Great Opportunity Party. Thank you.
All right, so now we'll have Seth Fark give his vision.
Thank you very much, Rick. I'm sorry John shut down. I'd like to thank him. But mainly thank Cherokee County. I'm delighted to be with y'all, and it's my pleasure to be here to talk to you and convey who I am and what I'm about. My mission in the Georgia Republican Party is first of all, study. Is everything fine?
Yeah, I think so. We're checking on a tornado.
And we need to find out in South, not only here today in the building, but how about our party? I think Georgia's doing a tremendous number of things correctly, but also I think there is a disconnect between our legislators and the party, between our grassroots and the party. And my first mission will be to be a bridge to bring those groups together, to recognize those groups, and help the General Assembly know that when they propose an ethics bill, and in that ethics bill they want to isolate and declare as a lobbyist people who are passionate about what they believe and they want to go to the Capitol and talk, that is wrong. They shouldn't do that. Now, when I finally saw the bill, I spoke personally to some of my friends that are in the bill and said, y'all are wrong about blank. And I'm glad to say I think the Senate would probably strip that out of the bill. But it's the wrong call. It's the wrong process. You, the grassroots, are what's important. You are the underpinning of everything we do in the party, and we need to do everything in our power to enable you so that you function well, so that you can identify, like our friends the Democrats did, identify exactly who is a potential voter and how we can get to those people and give our message. We need to work on our message. Our message needs to be one of a caring party. We have been the party of no. And the party of no has not. In this last presidential election, we lost 3 million voters. Had those 3 million voters voted for our candidates, they would be the president and vice president of the United States. Instead, they disappeared. They didn't vote. They didn't go to Obama. They just didn't vote. Albert Einstein made a statement and defined insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expect that you're going to get different results. That's why I think we need new leadership in the party. And we need to go into the party and we need to look at the party and say, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to listen. Now, I'm not technically sophisticated as some folks are. But you know what? I know how to get it. And I know how to hire it. And I know how to put people to do it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up quarterly meetings with every county chairman across the state. We'll do it by Skype. We'll sit there and we'll sit down and we'll have a conversation so that we can listen and do that process to have that communication coming from the counties and us going out also to go back to the counties. I personally pledge to you I will come to each district. I've run for statewide office and I know how big this state is. My district, today I came up from Columbus and it's 148 miles to be exact how far it is up here. And if you want to really get extreme, you go up to Walton County, up to Walker County and go south down to Brunswick. That is a huge trip. 5.5, 6 hours to get across our state. You just can't do it. But we can do it electronically. And that's one of the things that I plan on doing, is doing that process. I plan on having 2 new positions. I want to have a political director who will formulate policy from the grassroots to the legislature, to the governor, to our congressional delegation, and tell them, this is where we are, this is what we stand for, and communicate that message in a powerful manner so that these folks understand exactly where we are coming from, and we are asking them, please be our representative and do what we're asking you to do. Now, we can tell them what to do, and they might tell us not to do that. But you notice I said, please. I learned a long time ago, you got a lot more flies with honey than you do with venom. And if you're nice to people, you come across that way. And that shapes some of our message. Our message has got to be a more friendly message. We have been the party of no when you deal with abortion. I'm as pro-life as they come. I've been pro-life since the beginning of this process. But how about we say this? We're the party of outreach to a person who's in trouble. Let us help you go to a ministry that will save that child, that will help you transition. And if you want to keep that child, you keep that child. But another aspect, if you'd like to give a blessing to a family, you can give those children up for adoption. I have 2 nephews. My 2 nephews were adopted. And both of those boys are now out of college. They have gone the whole system and graduated from college. They're fine young men. But they came from a humble background and they were adopted at birth. And those children followed all the way through that process. We need to enable people to be positive and be felt like we're not stabbing them in the back or hitting them in the face. I can tell you, I know everyone in this room feels strongly about pro-life. But there's another side of it. When you go out in the community and you talk to people, young women in particular, are offended by us saying, no, 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 no. We've got to get them back.